You know, so I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, you know, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
I had all of it.
This is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she used this controversial rule on social media.
French Montana thought he was making the ultimate power move, but 50 Cent wasn't about to let that slide. Every time French's name pops up, 50 keeps a joke, a troll, or a jab ready to fire off like clockwork. But this time, 50's trolling cracked open a way deeper convo. One that's way bigger than rap beefs or petty industry shade. See, French Montana ain't just dodging smoke from the music game. Some folks say he's running headfirst into a whole new trap. The headlines read like a fairy tale. French Montana engaged to a Dubai princess worth $18 billion. To the average fan, it looks like French finally leveled up. No longer just the Bronx hustler turned rapper. Now he's rubbing shoulders with royalty, living like a global king. But when you peel back the sparkle, the picture gets way messier. Rumors in the streets claim this move ain't about romance at all. It's about strategy. With Diddy still allegedly tangled up in federal heat and whispers that investigators are circling everyone who was too close to those infamous bad boy freak-offs. French supposedly needed an exit plan, fast. Dubai looked like the perfect escape hatch, a glittering paradise far away from American scandals. But don't get it twisted. Paradise has its shadow. Behind those skyscrapers dripping in gold and Bugattis iced out with diamonds, insiders say some of Dubai's royal elite have been wrapped in dark allegations for years. Man, these Dubai whispers make Hollywood scandals look like kiddie shows. We're talking about rumors so wild, so filthy, that even the tabloids hesitate to print them. Tales of princes handpicking pretty boys, of Western celebs getting flown out for private sessions that make TMZ look like bedtime stories, and none of this talk is brand new. It's been bubbling under the surface for years. So now, picture French Montana, a dude famous for chasing checks, wilding out in clubs, and always keeping powerful friends close enough to boost his bag, suddenly popping up, locked in with a princess tied to billions. Not a couple stacks, not a record deal. Billions! People can't help but do the math, and the equation is just too neat. Sure, maybe there's love, but plenty are betting this move is less hard eyes and more survival mode. And that's why 50 Cent's shade cuts so sharp. When 50 says French got bought, he's not only clowning the ring, he's digging at the idea that French just swapped out one boss for another. He dipped out of Diddy's storm of scandals only to tie himself to royals whose names carry just as much weight and way less accountability, and that's the irony. French thought Dubai was his golden parachute, his escape plan from messy feds and dirty headlines. But if even half the whispers about those princes are on point, he didn't leave the fire. He just stepped straight into a hotter one. The Dubai stove blazing with shadows, money can't hide. Unlike the feds, who eventually cut deals or move on to the next target, royalty in Dubai don't play temporary games. They play for keeps.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
That's why this so-called $7 billion safety net don't look like salvation at all. It looks like another cage, just polished in gold. French might have bought himself some breathing room, but the price tag could be way heavier than he realizes. But let's hit rewind for a sec, because you can't clock French Montana's Dubai escape without first understanding how he even fell into Diddy's orbit to begin with. See, French didn't just stroll into Bad Boy Wave and pop that and call it a career. Nah, the tea around that signing was messy from the jump. And with everything that's been exposed about Diddy in the last 2 years, fans are starting to piece things together with fresh eyes. Here's the part most folks forget. When French was label shopping, he wasn't some starving mixtape rapper begging for a shot. He had choices on the table. Rock Nation was circling heavy. Rick Ross and MMG were putting in work to get him. Even Kanye's camp was flirting with the idea. French had options stacked, and yet, out of every table in the industry, he decided to sit down at Diddy's. Now tell me this, why would a man with that many suitors go running to the label infamous for ugly contracts, shady backroom deals, and extra activities nobody dares say out loud? Bad Boy was never just a record label. It was a whole lifestyle. And for some artists, the lifestyle itself was the real currency. The whispers say Diddy didn't just hand French Montana a check.
Can I tell you what I actually learned?
Yeah.
A friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight
with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So it's the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
He handed him the keys to a whole new world. The mansions, the women, the freak-offs, and those unspoken play nice and you'll get rewarded type of situations. That's the kind of access French suddenly found himself swimming in. And fans been side-eyeing ever since. First red flag. French openly admitted he took less money up front than what Ross or Jay would have cut him. Less bread, but he still chose Puff? That math don't math unless something else sweetened the deal. Second red flag. The internet's got a whole archive of French stumbling out of villas between 2016 and 2019 looking half gone. Eyes low, body worn. And funny enough, those nights always seem to line up with Puff's wild celebrations. Things really hit another level after Diddy's 2024 arrest, when old producers and ex-associates started spilling tea about what it really took to secure a bad boy deal. One producer swore Puff blackballed him for life after he refused to join in one of those infamous freak-offs. So of course, once that story hit, people look back at French's quick rise and connected dots. Oh, so you stayed? You signed? We know what that means. Now, is there a receipt with French's name on it? Nope, but the circumstantial tea is hotter than ever. Diddy wasn't just cutting French Montana checks, he was putting on a whole show. Remember when Puff launched that Ciroc French vanilla flavor right after the two of them allegedly spent the whole night together? Or that viral birthday clip, Diddy lounging in a robe, French shirtless beside him, both of them looking way too cozy for comfort. Then you got French himself straight up saying he wanted the big bag, and Puff was the only one willing to slide it his way. To the industry, it looked like just another label signing. But to the streets, it looked like a man trading a personal price tag for career elevation. And that's why folks swear he's running the same play in Dubai. Once you've shown you'll trade dignity for opportunity, people assume you'll do it again, just with a fatter bag and a different master. Now here's where the rabbit hole really twists. Summer 2024, French Montana pops out at Paris Fashion Week, not just flexing new fits, but allegedly unveiling a whole fiancé. And not just any fiancé, Chiara, a princess tied directly into one of Dubai's ruling families. Let's be real, that ain't no simple Bronx love story. That's a power move dressed in designer silk. And look at the timing. Around that same period, the feds were stacking evidence on Diddy like it was Jenga. The freak tapes, the trafficking whispers, the shady money trails. Anyone orbiting Diddy's world suddenly turned radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even casual friends. Subpoenas were flying, interviews were popping off, and everyone too close was catching heat. French wasn't just some casual homie in Diddy's circle. He was practically Puff's shadow for years. The birthday yacht trips, the champagne endorsements, the constant co-signs. French was always right there. So let's be real, if prosecutors were piecing together an airtight case, his name had to be on their radar. And what does French do? He doesn't just skip town. He links himself to one of the wealthiest dynasties in the Middle East. According to reports, the Shakas family sits on a jaw-dropping $18 billion fortune. That's not rap money, that's oil money. Generational wealth that doesn't flinch when you talk billions, and when you marry into that kind of empire, you don't just get financial security, you get protection, status, and a whole new passport into a world where outsiders can't just barge in snooping around. The streets are saying loud, French ain't acting out of love, he's moving in straight survival mode. Look at the receipts. The engagement happened lightning fast, perfectly timed with the heat building back in the States. And suddenly, French spends more days in Dubai's palaces than in New York or LA. His die-hard fans call it a fairy tale romance, but his critics, they see a carefully polished escape plan wrapped in Cartier diamonds and vows written for convenience. And don't sleep on the optics either. Every time French drops photos with his princess, he's looking sharper, healthier, like he hit reset on his whole image. But the comment section stays ruthless. Boy, you just swapped Diddy for Dubai? Or even colder, better hope them sheiks don't treat you like Puff did. That's the gag. French might think he leveled up by fleeing to Dubai, But those who know how Middle Eastern royalty flex power will tell you plain, sometimes you don't run out of the fire. You just step into a bigger, hotter one. And there's no easy exit. Here's the part French Montana probably don't want to face. Running from Uncle Sam into the arms of the UAE doesn't always equal freedom. Sometimes it just means you traded one contract for another, and this one comes with way scarier fine print. Dubai might shine in headlines with Lambos, mile-high towers, and pet tigers chilling on yachts. But behind the gloss, the whispers stay ugly. Influencers flock out there wide-eyed, chasing tax-free glam and IG-ready lifestyles, only to sneak back spilling horror stories. Palace parties where outsiders were props, treated like toys instead of people. Men and women both allegedly caught in setups they never signed up for. And here's the real sting. When you step into that arena, broke compared to their billions, you don't call the shots. They do. Now picture French Montana next to Sheikh Amara's empire. Her family sitting on $18 billion in generational oil wealth. Compared to that, French isn't rich, he's ornamental. A shiny celebrity piece for them to parade, not someone with any real power to push back. Sheikh Amara is the daughter of one of the most powerful autocrats of our modern age. French might bring clout, music, and fame to the table, but politically, financially, he's a lightweight. And that's what got people online clowning him hard, saying this ain't no fairy tale escape from Diddy. It looks like he just upgraded to new handlers. Only now the palaces are bigger, the secrecy thicker, and the stakes way higher. Instead of freak-offs in Miami villas, it's private gatherings in Dubai compounds where the rules aren't written down, but everyone knows not to cross a line. Remember Sheikh Amara's viral Insta-divorce back in 2024? The whole world froze when she dropped just 3 words: I divorce you, public, bold. And in royal circles, almost unheard of. Admirable, yes, but also a flashing red light about how chaotic royal life can get behind the curtain. And it ain't just Mara. Look at her bloodline. Princess Latifah's failed escape attempt made global headlines. Then there's Princess Hessa, allegedly abducted, with fingers pointing right back at their father, the autocrat ruler of Dubai himself, French's brand new father-in-law. Suddenly, the glossy fairy tale don't sparkle the same. When power that heavy turns against you, freedom ain't guaranteed, it's borrowed. That's why the internet keeps calling this French's $7 billion escape plan. On paper, it looks brilliant. Marry obscene wealth, lock in residency, and hide under a royal shield before the feds even knock. But socially, it's giving deja vu. For years, folks clowned French as Diddy's sidekick. The shirtless birthday clips, the robe dinners, the Ciroc-branded rewards. Now the gossip says he just traded one sugar daddy for a whole dynasty dripping in sucrose. And the irony? It cuts deep. Hip-hop painted French as the underdog hustler. Moroccan grit, Bronx grind, Coke boys pride. But Dubai royalty ain't bad boy records. You don't outshine them, you don't embarrass them. And if you stop being useful, you don't always get to bow out gracefully. If even a kernel of the whispers hold true, French didn't break free from a velvet leash. He wrapped himself in a golden cage. Now here's the real gag in all this chaos. The loudest voice dragging French Montana ain't the blogs, it's 50 Cent. Sit with that for a second. What if 50's shade ain't just clowning? What if he's actually warning him? You know how 50 moves? That big brother energy where he'll roast you nonstop, call you broke, washed, or a leftover, but deep down he still wants you to win. 50's been clowning French for years, calling him a Diddy hand-me-down, a washed act chasing relevance. But maybe, just maybe, he sees the setup French is sliding into. A trap that doesn't look like bars and chains, but feels exactly like those velvet cages whispered about in Dubai. The kind where the luxury blinds you, but the power always belongs to somebody else. But let's flip it. What if we got it wrong? What if this ain't a trap to French at all? We're looking at him like, damn bro, you sold your soul for safety. But French, he might see it as the ultimate come-up. Some folks chase freedom, others chase comfort. And French might not even see himself as a pawn. He might see himself as the chosen one. Think about it. A Moroccan kid who hustled mixtapes out the Bronx, climbed the rap ladder, and now chills with royalty, gold-plated security, and luxury on tap. We might call it a cage. We might call it selling out. But to French, it could feel like heaven with air conditioning, endless champagne, and a driver waiting 24/7. And that's exactly why 50's jabs cut so deep, because underneath the jokes, they drip with truth. 50 Cent built his whole empire on independence, on owning his masters, on flipping raw street hustle into boardroom dominance. He's the blueprint for turning survival into power. French, on the other hand, might have flipped survival into servitude. And that's the paradox right there. Who's really winning? The man still fighting for credibility in rap, still proving himself bar for bar, or the man tucked away in palaces, sipping imported tea, scandal-proof, untouchable, and backed by $7 billion worth of insurance? It's messy, it's ironic, and it's the strange new reality French lives in now. To the outside world, he looks like property, a famous accessory in somebody else's dynasty. But to him, he might feel like he finally ascended from Bronx mixtape kid to global royalty in law, and maybe that's the biggest twist of all. 50 Cent can clown, he can drag, he can throw shade till the end of time. But French Montana might just be sitting back with a grin, thinking this was the plan all along. Not an escape, not a trap, but the final hustle, turning a messy past into a gilded forever. But here's the kicker. The story ain't finished. If history's taught us anything, it's that secrets don't stay buried forever. Not in hip-hop, not in Hollywood, and definitely not in royal palaces. French might be enjoying his glow-up now, posting crisp fits, private jet flicks, and princess selfies, but the internet never forgets. Screenshots get saved. Old videos resurface. Whispers turn into headlines overnight, and once the machine starts spinning, even billions can't silence the noise. And this is where things get dangerous. Not for French's career, but for his life. Because unlike Diddy's scandals, which play out in messy lawsuits and blog exposés, Dubai royalty scandals hit different. When insiders fall out of favor, they don't get canceled, they get erased. People vanish, stories get scrubbed, whole chapters of history disappear like they never happened. French might think he's safe, but safety under that kind of power is always conditional. The streets are already buzzing. How long before French's shine turns into shadow? Some say he's untouchable now, that the marriage locked him in for good. Others say the second he embarrasses the wrong royal, he'll learn what unbothered really means. Because Dubai don't play about their image. And that's the twisted beauty of French's new reality. To some, he's living the dream. The hustler who beat the odds and married into money deeper than rap could ever provide. To others, he's just another pawn in a much bigger game. One where luxury looks like freedom, but the price is silence. And of course, you know who's not letting this slide. 50 Cent stays right there in the comments, turning French's fairy tale into a punchline every chance he gets. Post a palace photo, 50's already clowning it with a meme. French shows off the princess, 50 drops a side-by-side with Diddy in that robe. It's non-stop shade. But here's the thing, people love it. Every time 50 throws a jab, blogs eat it up, fans repost it, and suddenly French's billion-dollar lifestyle looks like comedy content for the culture. His trolling has always had layers. On the surface, it's jokes, but underneath, it's almost like he's reminding French, don't get too comfortable, we ain't forgot who you was rolling with before. That's the rawness of 50. He'll roast you publicly, but deep down, he's sending a warning too. Almost like he sees the writing on the wall before everyone else. And that's why the internet keeps watching this beef like it's a soap opera. On one side, you got French Montana, dressed sharp, smiling wide, flexing Dubai gold like he hit the final jackpot. On the other, you got 50 Cent, sipping wine, posting memes, and reminding the world that every glittering castle can still hide a dungeon. The irony? French might be sitting on royal billions, but in the rap game, he still can't escape 50's shadow. Every troll, every jab, every joke pulls the conversation back to the same question. Is French Montana a survivor or just a servant in a shinier cage? So here we are, at the crossroads of French Montana's wildest chapter yet. The Bronx hustler who once fought for mixtape clout now sits under the shadow of billions, wrapped in royal silk. But the question lingers. Did he win, or did he just sell himself into a different kind of prison? To fans, he's flexing harder than ever. To critics, he's wearing golden chains you can't even see. And through it all, 50 Cent won't let up. His trolling turned this whole saga into entertainment, but in the background, his shade carries weight. Because 50 knows what the streets know. Money can hide scandals for a while, but it can't erase them forever. Secrets slip, whispers spread, and one wrong move could flip French's palace fantasy into his darkest nightmare. Maybe French really believes he beat the system, trading lawsuits and subpoenas for endless tea and drivers on call. Maybe he thinks this was the master plan all along, but history's cruel. It has a way of exposing every deal, every betrayal, every dirty contract, no matter how deep it's buried. so the world watches. Is French Montana the genius who turned survival into generational security? Or the pawn who traded freedom for comfort, clout for silence, and respect for royal chains? Only time will tell which story survives the blogs, the trolls, and the test of history. If you made it this far, sound off in the comments. Do you think French Montana outsmarted the game, or did he just walk into the hottest fire of his life? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.